Hello, this is my technology infrastructure audit plan for USD 314. So, what is the true purpose behind a technology infrastructure audit? Well, that is to provide students with the education they need in order to thrive in a globally connected world. We must find ways to design, fund, acquire, and maintain the infrastructure that will make connectivity a reality for every teacher and student in every learning environment. And so it just speaks to the inclusiveness of being able to design, fund, and create, maintain an environment with technology that can be successful for every staff and student. So as far as who I would place on the audit committee, first off, an administrator needs to be on there. Being that my district, the principal superintendent is usually the same individual, that person would be the administrator that would serve on the committee, mainly to oversee the process and provide information. But I believe that, that's a key part to it. I would have the technology director be another member, obviously, of that, and I would actually allow them to lead the committee because they have the most advanced knowledge as far as what the technology infrastructure needs are of our district. I would ask that the office manager be a part of the committee just because that person is in charge of a lot of our online student data, all of the online systems that we use to report information. They are involved in that, so they would know the ins and outs of what the needs are or what the positives are when it comes to the use of those systems. I would ask that a staff member be on this committee, and just currently I think of our history teacher because she uses technology on a regular basis in her classroom, so she understands the benefits of what we do offer with technology, and she also understands some of the struggles that we have. I would ask the special education teacher to be on this committee because we do have a high population of special education students, and their needs a lot of times do involve technology in order to grant them access to the different things that they need. So I believe that their input is very important. As far as the community goes, we have a local internet service provider in our community. And I believe from S&T, I believe that that person would be very beneficial to be able to help with the main parts as far as what bandwidth or internet service we can gather in order to support our system. And then a student rep. So that person would be a high school student that has a lot of technology experience and understanding, possibly someone that goes into our cloud computing program at the local college where we have a joint program with them. That would be a great way for that student to showcase their skills and be able to provide knowledgeable or give us input that would be useful for the committee. As far as my role goes as an administrator, I need to be able to understand and demonstrate the ability to promote current and future successes of students and staff members by applying my knowledge and skills necessary to evaluate, design, and implement a technology system that is secure. And so it's just a lot of pieces that go into place. But again, I'm kind of that overseeing person, and then I can allow the other committee members to really put forth their knowledge in order to form a solid plan. So the process that I would go through as far as my role in the audit, first I would form that committee and schedule their meetings to determine how often they need to meet, what would be the best use for them. I would then provide current policies that we have in place, policies and procedures, and always ensure that confidentiality is maintained throughout this process. I would conduct a comprehensive needs assessment that includes technology questions. And with that, I would review those results then with the committee so they can see the needs that are identified by our stakeholders. I would also gather additional feedback from stakeholders while again maintaining that confidentiality piece, making sure that that stays secure. I would assist in the development of a robust infrastructure and systems where we would create a plan in place to best assess our technology and address any needs that we have. And then I would maintain those partnerships with the community to ensure educational success on all levels. And just having that involvement would help provide the best benefit to our district and our staff and students. So this would be the steps kind of in place. They can go in roughly in this order, but they can also kind of jump around depending on what the needs are at the time. So what are the committee's steps moving forward? There are two main ones identified from one of the resources. First, they will need to define what the status quo is, where they see areas of places that work really well and areas where there's need for improvement. And then they would go through and set a baseline for future growth. And this is where they can offer custom recommendations with specific PD opportunities that address those technology needs. So as far as the items that the audit committee would look at, they would take the two pieces of information they come up with from those first two steps and set goals that are rigorous but yet obtainable. Then they would determine within those goals, these are the things that they would look for. They would determine the age of equipment and decide what type of timeline update would be needed as far as when devices or hardware, software, when any of that would need to be updated. With security, web filters, firewall, virus and malware prevention and protection, just making sure those are in place. With this accessibility, that we have secure data, that we also allow for remote access within our building, that we also have automatic updates that take place without a physical person having to come and do that on each individual device. With the internet, granting access both in and out of schools. This would also include the bandwidth and making sure that our bandwidth can sustain multiple devices at the same time, which is something we struggle with right now. So that would be a need to focus on. Redesign learning options. This would include project-based learning or career-specific courses that we could offer through technology. And then using the rapid cycle evaluation tool just to be able to go back and determine, how our devices are being updated and make sure that it's the most effective plan for our district. So based on our current technology system, some of the positives or pros that we have, our technology director does control the access of a lot of applications and things that go on within our devices. And so I feel like that's important. We know who to go to if we have a need. That person is also in charge of new user setup and granting email access. And so just keeping up to date on that, it's usually a quick process for us being small. We have an online activity calendar on our school website, and that's a big positive because that is the best place to show any updates of school events or needs or anything going on, and we can share that it's accessible to anyone. We do receive spam email notifications, and a lot of time those go directly to our spam folder, and so I believe we do have a good filter set up for that. We try to rotate out equipment on a 4-year cycle. This is specific to students, not so much staff. We really don't have a set rotation for staff, but that is something that we are looking into as far as how to keep on top of those devices. Also, a replacement plan for damaged devices. We do kind of have a replacement plan policy on file, although I feel like sometimes we don't follow it. But we do have that in place. And then we do use E-rate funding specific to our internet service and our bandwidth in order to help us to gain enough bandwidth so that our computers and our systems aren't shutting down or lagging. As far as needs or the cons within our technology system, we don't have remote access within our school. And so that sometimes is a struggle because our technology director has to go directly to the problem, to the device, and work with it. They can't do that from their station or their office. Sometimes our filters block way too much information or too many websites, and so it becomes frustrating again if a teacher is trying to conduct class and have students go to a website. It worked on the teacher's computer, but then it doesn't work on the student computers, and so just a more comprehensive or cohesive nature as far as what's being blocked and not blocked. The school website, although it does provide a lot of information, sometimes it's not user-friendly. There's not a lot of those direct links, like we can't click on email and send a direct email. We have to copy and paste. So maybe just updates on that. We have lost data when users are removed from our system, so that's something to keep in mind and just find a better process as to how we store our data to make sure that it is maintained and not lost when we remove old users. We do struggle with bandwidth, like I said. We do have a lot of times that our system does lag, so just making sure that we have a process in place to be able to address that. Our wireless printing is not always updated. When we get a new wireless printer or it gets worked on, sometimes computers then are not updated to match that location, and so it makes it difficult for staff to print in the area that's most convenient for them. As far as the cost to replace or repair equipment, that's something that we really don't have a plan for, and so just looking for the best methods to go on that. And then providing those professional development opportunities, both for staff and students. Because we are a Google school, for the most part, we use a lot of the Google systems, and so I believe that we need a little more training for everyone to make sure that we are using it to the best ability. With our school board policies, the current policies that I could find that would be included in the audit, we have a computer use policy in place. We follow the Children's Internet Protection Act. We have an online learning policy that addresses students who want to take classes online. We have a staff use of communication devices, and this would not only include mobile devices, but also computers, laptops, iPads, things like that. We have an acceptable use policy that both staff and students have to sign and have on file, along with a rules and code of ethics for computer users, and this just keeps everyone compliant within those basic acceptable uses of the internet and of devices. And then students do have a Chromebook policy they have to follow. So new policies that could be added to the audit and included within our school policies. A data sharing policy just to make sure things are secure, but that, what do we do to share data between individuals or between organizations? A two-factor authentication. We have that in place now for a little over a year, and so maybe just a policy on file to explain that would be beneficial. One of the sources listed a data breach response checklist, so just being proactive and being prepared in case we do have a data breach. What do we do going from there? We don't have that in place or on file. A bring your own device guideline. We have never really been a district that supports bringing your own device. We've always tried to provide those for them because we can't monitor and filter out things on people's own devices, but maybe we should have some sort of guideline in place to allow people to bring their devices at the benefit of the district and be able to guarantee or just, strongly suggest that they have the right uses with it. The technology for special education topic was mentioned, and again, going back to the fact that we have a large special education population, just making sure we have policies that address them specifically. And then allowing staff or students to be those technology trainers if they have the knowledge, then maybe a policy in place just to protect those individuals would be important. So this whole audit really just speaks to a technology infrastructure audit takes the guesswork out of knowing how and where to invest resources, and it puts it back into the best practices possible. All right. And so that is my technology infrastructure audit for USD 314.